Hey everyone! Today we have a really, truly special speaker. Her name is Kristina Day. And why is so special to me is because I met her at the beginning of my transformational journey, like 4 years ago. Well, my transformational journey started a little bit earlier than that, but personal development on steroids started in 2020. After after were you on the summit too? On Joel Brown summit? The
No, I did work with him a year before that. Yeah.
Got it. So I met Christina in a transformational container after that summit, and I'm so grateful to have you here because like that was at the beginning of everything. And like here we are, 4 years later, life has completely changed for me. I know it's completely changed for you. And so the intention for this call is to share that journey with everyone and help maybe even just one person. If this helps just one person, I mean, the more the merrier. And if it just helps one person on their transformational journey, that would be amazing. So, Christina, please share with us all with all of us who you are, what your story is, and then we'll go into the questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Audrey, for having me. Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to share with you um, part of my journey and what I have learned and how hopefully it can support you as well. In a short, who I am and what I do, I am in the space of the new paradigm, building the new earth. And the pillars, so to speak, that I'm leading or working within. One is working with your consciousness, right? Is how do we take those psychological, emotional, energetical things that we are experiencing that often hold us back from taking action in the physical, right? Um, and this is what I do. This is what I've been doing for the past 4 years. I also started my spiritual business in 2020. And since then, I've been working and guiding people how to release the past conditioning of doubt, insecurities, basically who they're not, and to realign back within themselves, right? Back into inner knowingness, inner trust, and to co create, with the infinite and walk the path of their soul mission. So that's one part of my work, um, through healings and event facilitation courses. And then the other aspect of my work is also business and marketing and strategy, specifically supporting um, businesses, organizations, personal brands who are within the new paradigm of building something impactful that serves not their ego or service to self, but actually makes an impact and is in service to people, to humanity, and to Mother Gaia. So I also work with people, strategizing their beautiful empires of light.
I love that. I love that, Christina. So
Thank you.
I could you speak a little bit more about a event that you might have gone through that has that really moved you into this transformational space of turning pain into power and to also then building out the offerings that you have for everyone. Could you speak a little bit into that?
Yeah, 100%. And, I find this question a little bit challenging to answer because I feel, at least in my personal life, there was no like one major event. It was rather like a compilation of small events that were contributing to my personal evolution and awakening. Like each of them were essential step. But there were, I would say, two like milestones that really made me awaken to a new level. And the first one was when I was 19 years old. So a little bit of background on me. I born in a small country in Europe, Latvia, with less than 2 million people. So the conditioning that I received and the experience I grew up in was I felt insignificant. I didn't feel that the resources are available to me. That all the other countries like America, Canada, all other countries, but yet Latvia have so much more opportunity, and that I will need to work so hard to just get to the level where everyone else is like default level. And because I also didn't really had like financial or emotional or mental support um, of going after what I want, I always been like a deep kid who has a big vision, being on the stages and be speaking and helping people. But, I look around and I saw nobody do that, like just regular work for money, really working hard, post-Soviet Union country. So it was tough here. Now it's much better, but when I grew up, it was different. So one of the biggest events that happened is I literally, when I was a teenager, I had a thought, well, if I have to save up money for my whole life and I get at least to travel once in my life, it will be to United States, because I wanted to see that different spectrum. So what happened at the age of 18, once I, finished school, I manifested an opportunity to go to the United States to to sell books door to door, educational books, knocking on doors 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, walking on your foot every single day for 3 months like that. The first year when I applied, I went through like 9 months of preparation. And when it came time to go to the United States during the summer, I was denied in visa because of some issues that required by my college. But it broke me so bad. Like I was crying for 1 week straight, um, nonstop, because it wasn't just about going to the United States. It was about, well, I lost my opportunity to escape the rat race, to change the story of my family, to, start making money independently and so on. Long story short, I changed the school while I was denied in the visa. And next year I went to United States at the age of 19. And the funniest thing is that on my first week after, so there's like a week of sales school in Nashville, and then everyone is being sent out all over the states to their kind of areas to sell books. And 1.5 weeks in, I broke my foot. I broke my foot just by simply walking. So if imagine this is a foot, my bone here fractured. It was a stress fracture. So I was just walking, and all of a sudden I feel like such a crazy pain, like somebody crushed my foot. And I was like, that's very strange feeling, like, when you walk. And I had no idea that I broke my foot, and I worked and walked like this for one more week. And because we've been trained, like no giving in, we're committed, 6 days a week, 12-hour schedule. I was like, you're not breaking me. I'm committed, I'm changing my life. It was easier to break my foot than it was to break my mind and my commitment. But the thing is, my physical body was giving in. It was just too much. And in all honesty, like now when I look back, I do understand that it was my mind, or like my all being, my consciousness, that manifested the broken foot. Because I was like, I'm not freaking quitting. But in all honesty, it was a very tough job. And that summer I made like $42. That's it. So, I got the cast, and even with the cast, I tried to walk and walk and work for 4 more hours every day. Around the neighborhood didn't bring any results. So I was like, okay, I need to stop. I need to fly back to Latvia because I couldn't get any other job in the United States. And yeah, on the way back, I was 19 years old, shy, small girl, first time outside of Latvia, pretty scared, to travel all by myself from one side of the world to back to Latvia. And on my way from Chicago to where was it, like Atlanta or airport, I was on a bus and they lost my luggage. So, and I never got it back. And, I remember that moment when I came back to Latvia, back home. I walk in, I have literally no money, broken foot. The only underwear I have left is the one I wear because my luggage is completely gone. But in that moment, and like my dream of escaping the rat race, everything is gone. And I'm like, complete failure, so to speak, you could say. But I was like, wow, if I could do that, if I can go through that experience and get back home all safe and alive, and I had the courage to ask for help when I needed and to navigate really challenging situations, I can do anything. Like, boom. Like that experience was so transformational for me. In that moment, I went from, like, if for example, till the age of 16, I was totally in the victim consciousness. Like, life happens to me, why I've been born into this shitty country, yada yada. Then, since the age of 13, I've been listening to Bob Proctor, learning about law of attraction, all of that. And kind of since the age of 16, I understood, like, okay, I'm creator. And, life doesn't happen to me. But at the age of 19, when I had that experience, I really started to understand that there's something bigger at large than just me that is co-creating with me, and I'm co-creating with it. I just need to act and stop being afraid, and I'll also allow the synchronicities to guide me, right? So I shifted in that moment. I really shifted from being just in the creator that I make the life happen, is that okay, there's something non-physical that is helping me and that I can co-create with. So that was the first kind of really awakening moment, and the one after was in 2019, which was more about the energetical awakening and shifting from the consciousness of co-creator to I am, that actually I am an expression of God's source consciousness, and all humans are expression and a manifestation of that infinite consciousness. So, I can go into more details, but I would like to break it up a little bit with your questions. But yeah, that moment was more recent, right? In 2019, when I came back home to Latvia again after living 2.5 years in Australia and a little bit in Bali. And yeah, there's for 6 years I had really like hermit mode period where for 6 months I was literally crying almost every day. And this is where I started to understand about shadows and spirituality, and my psychic ability started to come online. And yeah, it's a whole new chapter that opened up. We're gonna go into it later.
Yeah. So with with all of those experience, so thank you so much for sharing that with me. With
Mm,
all those experiences, what was your result from having those experiences? How did
yeah,
you change and what did you create from all of that?
yeah, that's a good question. So sorry, the last one was the results, what I create,
Yep.
and the first one was
How did you change that?
how did I change?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think those experiences, what they really just gave me is expand my awareness, right? With each new challenge, I'm like, oh, okay. another construct of my illusionary reality that I thought is this is it is dissolving, and there's more, and there's more. And with each experience, I became more self-empowered, more more self-expressed, more self-assured, and trusting me. But also, most importantly, and I really feel this have stabilized in the last like 3 4 years in my life, is knowing that everything is not just okay and fine, but I'm totally provided in overflow. That God, the universe, the infinite, all the invisible forces, they are having my back more than I can imagine, because there has been so many moments in my life, and again, I'm coming from a conditioning where I couldn't trust anyone or rely on anyone, because my needs couldn't be met. So I put my big, girl's panties on and made it happen, and was in my masculine and, hustle. And so many people are in that masculine energy of making things happen. But I understood that with that energy, I can achieve only so much. And that if I want to start experiencing the reality I truly want to experience, and go after, not go, but receive and start co-creating those bigger level projects that I desire to experience, I need to let go. Because those visions, the big visions of mine, they're so big, they're too big for my ego, linear ego to figure. And I just need to allow for the universe to guide me, to provide for me. Because time and time again, every time when I will force things and I'm like, okay, no, this is happening, I'm gonna make it happen. Every time the universe will bring me back to my knees and show like, no, this is not the way, and stop forcing and stop trying to control the outcome. This can be so much more easier, and there's a more aligned way for you to for me to deliver this to you. It's just like not in this way, and you at this time, like, it's not happening, Kristina, let it go, and this is where I needed to learn to surrender. And it just happened so many freaking times where I'm like, this is not happening the way I want, but then it happens in such an incredible way. Or something like, a huge amount of money comes in when I need it, like in a week and a half, and previously there's no way I will manifest it in if I do it through work or something, right? So it's just the universe proved me so many times that she has my back, or it has my back. It's like that at this time, at this point, and this is what the result is, I live pretty much at inner peace and inner alignment. And of course, there's things that I want to achieve, and in the projects I'm working on, and so on. But if something is like, I'm feeling the resistance, or something is not working out, or I don't know how to do something, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna let it go, because I already know from the experience, me stressing, forcing, pushing is not gonna bring the results that I want.
Okay. So you said something that I would love for you to speak on. You said surrender just now.
Mm-hmm.
And I sincerely believe that there is a balance. Because if we're just
Mm-hmm.
surrendering, then we just become aloof of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and then we're not actually taking the action. And also, when we take the action, when we try to strangle the universe to be like, it's gonna happen this way, then shit falls out of place, man. It doesn't work. Like what probably happened the last time we were trying to record this, right? So, what actions did you take to achieve this result? And how did those actions change your mindset? Because it's mindset and action very closely aligned.
Yeah, 100%. And something that contributes to your mindset is your consciousness,
Mhm.
right? So It's like your mindset is more like the lens of perception through which you are viewing and experiencing the world, and your consciousness is the light that shines through that lens. And when you speak about surrender 100%, and I know what you mean, and I spent, I don't know what, 8 years maybe in being like creator, co-creator, and I'm used to forcing things and like gonna make this happen. You don't mess with me. you know. So for me to learn to surrender, to let go, was one of the most challenging things actually to do. And again, one was because the universe started to prove me that I don't know. So there's that. But also, when I say surrender, it does not mean being aloof and like sitting just on your couch and doing nothing. But I know when I surrender is more like let go of the control, stop forcing. Energetically, if we speak energetically, from when we force things, when we try to make it happen and try to do too much action, the energy that we are putting and emanating from our bioenergetical field is forceful, right? It's pushing, it's direct, it's like sending the signal out. But what if we let go of that pushing, right? And that aggressive energy? What if that is dissolved? And instead of that, you become an open, available vessel that is centered, is connected with the source, with the father, and the mother, the earth, the matter, right? And you're bringing those energies, you're bridging those in your heart, right? So the three upper chakras is the source consciousness. The lower chakras are more the human related things, chakras, and the heart is where we're bridged at, right? So if instead of like blasting the energy out, and our attention is in the reacting to the external world, what if we bring our power, our consciousness into ourselves, and we observe, we receive? When we are not distracted and stressed, we have the ability to be more observant, to turn on our extrasensory perception, to actually pay attention to synchronicities and actually be available and receptive to them. When we stop trying to make it happen from our limited human ego, then we are actually able to receive what the unified field has in store for us. And we're able just to perceive. And when we are able to perceive, bam, then I take action, inspired action, right?
Mm.
I respond. So it's not that I'm sitting and doing nothing. I'm prioritizing my centeredness. I'm prioritizing my inner alignment so that when the synchronicity comes in, I'm available to take action. I'm available to respond. And often that opportunity is way more bigger and way more amazing than what I would be able to do or create or force from my limited ego. Because ego is designed to take care of our human self, to protect, to make sure we don't die, and so on. But what happens often, we allow the ego to take control and start to shape the bigger things, but it hasn't been designed to that ego is a technology to take care and protect our human. Our heart is the technology to perceive the non-tangible. So we need to learn when to use what.
Beautiful. And I hear you. I believe that with the ego, it also needs to be trained because I have the saying it's do not negotiate with your mind because the mind, if it's not trained, it can take over the ego, right? And so what was your process like? How did you come to this realization? Because the Christina that I met 4 years ago and who you are now, different. What was your process like in becoming this person? And turning all those challenges into what you have right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So 4 years ago, I was somebody who was more just on the bridge of that realization and, coming out of it like almost a decade of forcing things and being, yeah, controlled by my ego and my fears, kind of creating my life from that place. The number one thing is listening to yourself, working with your consciousness. Because like I don't read books. I don't seek for teachers. If a teacher, if a mentor, if an information comes into my field and I feel yes, it is supportive and it's coming as a key, a code that I need, I will receive. But I'm not going and seeking. And this is what I teach, that all the answers are within. And when I started to actually paying attention to my fears and the stories and the doubts that my unconscious, the software, have been programmed with, and I've been like basically running in the background and from. One by one, I started to undo it. I started to alchemize. I started to realize this is not true. And, it is a path of healing. It's path of, first of all, when you find that core wound that sits in your unconscious and the core wound, like let's say I'm not good enough or whatever, holds a specific emotion. And from that, it creates a trickle link system that, okay, builds a belief system that will verify or like, yeah, this is correct. We're not good enough. The whole system that builds out. When we take out the pain and we experience that pain of the core wound, when our needs weren't met or maybe trauma happened, then that dissolves and there's more light and ease that is available to come into our field, and we become more at ease. We stop being so contracted. So one by one, those things started to come up. And, for me, the spiritual awakening was triggered by, so I started my marketing business 2 years prior into 2018. And I was doing, and like my desire was just to make money and travel, so I don't have to go to a regular job. But then I knew, sorry, deep down inside, I knew I want to be helping people, but who the hell am I to help people? Who's going to listen to me? I don't even know how to help people, and then I have no money and like yada yada, and I have no connections, and no one is going to like my stuff, blah blah blah, and no one is going to see and notice me. So many stories. So one by one, I started to undo it, resolve it, and all of this came down to ego, because ego is the one who's kind of taking note of all of the stories and reminds us, okay, do you remember that story from your childhood? when somebody said that you're not good enough or laughed at you, whatever. The key here is, I think in spiritual communities, there's this paradigm of starve the ego and like heal the soul. But for me, I'm all about creating unity and inner alignment with yourself and all parts of yourself. And ego is a big part of you that takes care of you. Its role is to keep you safe. The problem comes up is when we try to act on our soul mission and our life purpose, or when we try to build bigger things, instead of shifting and listening to the heart, we're still in survival because of, again, trapped emotions, trauma, and conditioning. We're not in unity within, let's say, the first chakra, because we are in fear of survival because of money or whatever. So we need to understand ego is not bad. Ego is your friend. And it's not trying to be a bad guy, and it's not trying to sabotage you. All it's doing is autopilot, and it's projecting the stories into your reality that it's been fed in your childhood, right? So when you understand and you start to build relationship with your ego, and like, hey, ego, I love you. And thank you for showing me all of these things. And you look at those things and you alchemize them. And you also reassure ego that you love it, that you appreciate it. Then ego will feel seen. Then it will be able to let go. And when you are able to let go of the ego and be on the equal of the ego, not try to shout at mouth, then ego has no problem for you to shift into heart and listen to the heart when you need to listen to the heart, because that inner war is not at the place anymore. So for me, it's all about creating unity and inner alignment within yourself, because when you have inner alignment with all parts of you, you can create alignment and love and unity with other people and with the unified field.
I hear you. I hear you. I think I think I think the saying should be train the ego, because the ego is it's a part of us. We are part divine, part animal, and
Yeah.
if we just like judge and
Yeah.
almost, yeah, it's a judgment where it's like ego is bad.
Mm,
It's like,
yeah.
no, it's we get to be in relationship and
Yeah.
train our bodies and our minds to show us like, hey, I'm in charge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with that being said, thank you so much for your time, Christina. It's so amazing to see how much you have blossomed into the leader that you are and the work that you are doing. Like, it's so amazing. Like, I truly, truly, yeah, it's something else when you see someone like change.
Mm,
So thank you so much for your time. Where can everybody find you? What are your handles? Let them
yeah.
know.
Yeah, thank you so much, Audrey. I really appreciate all of your beautiful feedback. Yeah, so if people want to connect with me, obviously Instagram, my handle is at I am Kristina Day, or my YouTube channel is Spiritually Selfish, Kristina Day. You'll also find the links down below. And yeah, I also shared with Audrey a free gift that you guys can download. It's shifting the self-doubt from your unconscious. It's a beautiful masterclass with some energy workers there as well, so it's completely free of charge. Yeah, and if you want to connect, send me a message on Instagram or through my website.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time, Christina. Have a beautiful day, and we'll talk to all of you soon. Bye.